Now there are two kind of important things that need to be handled that cannot be covered by this technique, and one of them is how to do a single swap, how to swap two things, and the other is how do you turn a couple corners. Let's say how do you make one corner turn to the right and the other turn to the left. So let's first deal with the how do you do a swap. So how do you do a swap? This is kind of thing that this is really isn't really kind of hard to figure out unless you just really lucky or I suppose really smart. So I'm just gonna tell you the basics of it is if you can move 4 things and if you can move 3 things, then you can move 2 things, and I'll show you what I mean. So we've got 4 objects here, and each have a place where they live. We know how to move 3 things. We just figured out an algorithm that moves 3 pieces of a cube around, and we also know how to move 4 things. And a way to move 4 things is to just take the top of the cube and turn it to the right. The 4 corners move in a circle, 1 step around the circle. So here's our 4 objects. So we move all 4 of them to the right, so they all kind of move 1 space over like that, and then we take 3 of them and we move them back. It's kind of like the shell game. So I took all 4 and they went around 1 step around the circle clockwise, and I took these 3 positions and I took whatever was there and I moved it counterclockwise. So I just moved 3 things back, and as you can see, 2 of my objects are right back where they started, and the other 2 have been swapped. My 5x5 cube is now where the 4 used to be, and the 4 is now where the 5 used to be. So that's how you do a swap, and this is called permutation parity, and this is where the word parity comes from, P-A-R-I-T-Y, odd and even. It's a mathematical term. Like I said, you'd have to be kind of lucky to stumble on this yourself. It's sort of an obscure concept, but that's what you do. So if you want to take this method, removing 3 things, and work it into a single pair swap, which is a dedge flip, swapping just 2 of these pieces is like flipping the dedge over, then you have to find a way to move just 4 pieces, and it turns out the way to move just 4 pieces is to do this: the 4 edges, which is the 4 corners of this slice, move ahead in the circle, and then you set up some way of taking these 3 and moving them back. And of course, when you do that, you've also messed up a whole bunch of center pieces, and that's part of the reason why the dedge flip is such a pain in the neck. The shortest method I've found for a dedge flip is 16 turns, and that's a lot of turns for something like this. Basically, all I had to do to work out how to flip the dedge was I did this technique of start with something, set it up by putting some moves in the front and putting some moves at the end to put my pieces where they need to be for the core algorithm to work, and then of course, in order to do a single pair swap, I had to put a turn at the beginning that moved 4 of them around in a circle, and then I added my algorithm to move 3 of them the other way, and then I had a dedge swap. Of course, it wasn't a dedge, it was more like 2 pieces oriented like this, so then of course I made a setup that involved bringing the piece down to the bottom or the back and spinning them back around to get them into the place where they needed to be for. So that's why it ended up being 16 moves. Alright, so let's twist a corner. Now the way to twist a corner is actually this is very similar to steps 1 and 2 here of creating an algorithm. We figure out a way to change just the 1 piece on the top, and so this that ain't it. You want to find a way to bring this piece down and twist it and then put it back up so it's twisted. So there, there is one way to do it. I don't even know if that's the shortest. But then you spin your cube around, and then you have to undo it, like that. Except I didn't do it right. But now you're twisted two pieces. That's the gist of it. Again, I wrote down what I was doing so that I could keep track, and I didn't end up, spinning three edges around to my bottom or twisting my bottom corners like I did here. I think that pretty much covers it. That's all you need to solve any of these types of puzzles.